you very much. I'm honored to join my colleagues, but as I told each of the family members, I wish I were not here. For I have some sense of how hard it is for you to be here. Mr. Mayor, as I told you a little bit earlier, you should be so proud of your city. And to my good friend, Chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, you should be so proud of your state. Congresswoman Black, Congressman Fleischman, and I want to say that you've been through a lot, and understand that Congressman Lay is here as well. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8 reads, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Each man we honor today gave the same response in Isaiah. "Here I am. Send me. Send me." Gunnery Sergeant Tommy Sullivan, tethered to his Irish roots, chastened by his Italian mom. Great combination, Mom. A Red Sox fan, a neighborhood kid who never really left the neighborhood except to go to Iraq twice. 2 Purple Hearts, as we Irish say, a heart of gold. As his hometown paper said, everything a Marine should be. Staff Sergeant Dave Wyatt, Iraq, Afghanistan, in the darkest and most violent days of both those wars. Dave, an Eagle Scout, as a camp counselor pulling a young man trapped in a canoe below the water of a fallen tree, saving his life. As his hometown paper said, someone you could always count on. Sergeant Carson Holmquist, Afghanistan, son of a Marine, 2 tours in Vietnam, always respectful, always looking out for others. A Marine even before he took the oath. Petty Officer 2nd Class Randall Smith, grandson of a Navy veteran, has been pointed out already, a baseball star in his hometown, always smiling, always there for his friends. As they say in his town, someone you always wanted to be around. Lance Corporal Skip Wells, devout, a friend to everyone, always there, always wanted to be a Marine, to protect from the time he was a kid. His classmates in his hometown newspaper said he was always looking out for the other guy. It was no surprise to anyone who knew them, anyone who grew up with them, that they chose the profession they did. It was stamped in their DNA. Being a sailor, being a Marine, is not what they did. It was like all of you, is who they are. They each said, I'll go. I'm here. Send me. I didn't have the privilege of knowing any one of them personally, but oh, I knew them. Confident, committed, determined, trustworthy, passionate, and always, always loyal. I knew them. They were my son, and so many other sons I know. They were, with the exception of Sully, the 9/11 generation, but he was that too. Men of honor, men of faith, men of determination, imbued with a sense of duty that's hard to explain where they got it from. A sense of commitment to their family and friends from the time they were kids to the moment they died. Each of these guys, the best that I know, Bob, had this instinct to protect. Just an instinct. You grew up with guys like this. They had that instinct. You knew if you were in trouble, they'd be there. They were different. A commitment to family and friends, again, we're part of that remarkable 9/11 generation. I would respectfully suggest, after being around a long time, the finest generation of warriors the world has ever known. That is not hyperbole. The finest generation of warriors the world has ever known. This generation, 4.2 million of them joined after 9/11. 4.2 million. Over 2,200,000 deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq. Every one of them, when they signed up, knew it was probable, not possible, probable, they'd be sent into battle. A battle unlike any in our history. State actors, but many stateless actors. Difficult to tell, friend from foe. Like thousands of men and women, many here in this arena, they went. They raised their hand, said, "Send me." What a remarkable generation. A generation who, along with their families, have made great sacrifices for this country. Every day, compliments of the Defense Department. My staff calls early in the morning. I carry a card in my pocket of my schedule every day for the last 9 years. A little box in the bottom of my card. It lists the number of dead, the number wounded, not a general number, the exact number, the precise number, because every single solitary one of these warriors leaves behind a whole family and community. I can't stand it when I'm here. About 6,700 dead. It's 6,717, one added in the last week. Wounded, it's 52,321, 5 added since last week in Afghanistan. There are thousands still in harm's way. And we're here not only to pay tribute to these 5 heroes, the 6,717 like them who lost their lives in the line of duty, but we're also here to pay tribute to the families of the 5, as well as the 6,717. First, to all the families of all the fallen, your country says thank you. Thank you for raising such incredible men and women with such a keen sense of duty and honor. From the time I was a kid, my mother had a saying. She'd look at you and say, "Joey, remember. Remember, you are defined by your courage and you are redeemed by your loyalty." That was my mother's code. You are defined by your courage and redeemed by your loyalty. I say to the families here today, your sons, husbands, brothers, they are the purest example of my mother's standard. They met it and exceeded it. They were defined by their courage and redeemed by their loyalty. To the families here, as I said when I met you a moment ago, I've spoken to all of you on the phone before that. Thank you for sharing this memorial with us. I know it's hard. It's hard. Because it brings back it brings back that very moment when you got that call. For I know no memorial, no words, no acts can provide the solace your hearts yearn to acquire. That intense, consuming feeling of loss and emptiness that continues to linger, in some cases, grows more intense. But I do hope it eases your grief just a little bit, knowing that the people of your hometowns, the people of Chattanooga, and tens of millions of Americans really do grieve with you. I also know what incredible courage it took to be here. It requires you, as I said, to relive. But one of the things that I've learned that I want you to know, I hope you gain some solace from it, that people never talk about. Your courage is an inspiration to hundreds of thousands of people all across this country who are suffering and struggling with their own horrific loss. Maybe not as a consequence of wearing a uniform, but have lost a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter. And I promise you, as they struggle with their own tragedies, wondering, will I make it? Can I survive? They see you. They hear you. They've come to learn about you. And I promise you, you give them hope. Years from now, you'll be places and you'll find people coming up to you you never, ever knew. And they'll say thank you to you. Thank you. Because they look at you and say, if they can do it, if they can show up, maybe I can do it. maybe I can overcome. You're literally an inspiration, and America owes you just for being here. And always with the men we honor today. John Milton, the English poet, once wrote, "They also serve who only stand and wait." Jill and I, my wife, the entire Biden family, have you in our thoughts and our prayers as you have had us in yours. I also know there's nothing at this moment that can fill that deep black hole, that open wound of losing your son, your husband, your brother, your father. Nothing can replace the son who, as he walked away and turned and smiled at you, lit up your life, literally lit up your life just smiling at you. Made you realize how worthwhile life was. Or the husband who knew your fears even before you expressed them, whose gentle hand could soothe them away. The dad who tucked you in at night, just touched your face, made you feel so secure. The brother who always, always, always had your back. You've lost very much. You've given so very much. But please know that He will always be with you in the deepest recesses of your heart, in your every thought. He'll be the voice you hear in your ear telling you that's okay. He'll be that feeling in your chest that just calms you down. That look from the mirror that gives you confidence to move forward. And that sunset that says, I see you. I see you. And the day will come, as hard as it is to believe, when His memory brings a smile to your lips before a tear to your eyes. It takes time. In my experience, it takes getting through every season at least once. But it will come. It will come. And that's when you know you'll be all right. My prayer is that day comes sooner rather than later. But it will come. So hold on to one another tightly. Gunnery Sergeant Tommy Sullivan, Staff Sergeant Dave Wyatt, Sergeant Carson Holmquist, Petty Officer Second Class Randall Smith, Lance Corporal Skip Wells. These are the men made of the stuff that makes this the greatest country on earth. They're part of less than 1% of the American population that protects 99% of us. They're what makes us who we are. They're the backbone, as these women and men here are. The virtual bone and sinew of this country. And in the face of dangers and threats, we look out for one another. We stand together. We never, never bow. We never, never bend. Our national character is no match for the cowardice and perversion that we face. These perverse ideologues warped theocrats. They may be able to inspire a single lone wolf to commit a savage act, but they can never threaten who we are. When this perverted jihadist struck, everyone responded. Marines and sailors moving from room to room, helping fellow warriors to safety. Marines and sailors helping fellow warriors jump the fence away from danger, only to turn back into the fight to save more. Marines and sailors grabbing children from nearby playgrounds, shepherding them out of harm's way. Warriors fighting back, getting people to safety. Warriors at a recruiting center, helping countless people stand up and serve. Chattanooga police officers taking shots but still ending the rampage. First responders, doctors, nurses, saving lives. Residents bringing food to the police officers on duty at the shooting site. Makeshift memorials, interfaith vigils that grew bigger day after day after day. Thousands of people line the streets in your hometowns. The funeral routes of Gunnery Sergeant Tommy Sullivan, Staff Sergeant Dave Wyatt, Sergeant Carson Holmquist, Petty Officer Second Class Randall Smith, Lance Corporal Skip Wells, and every stretch of road and intersection, cars, trucks, football practices, stopped and waited and showed their reverence. All for the purpose of reasserting who we are. We are unyielding. Chattanooga, the country has and still stands with you. And it will remember what you've done. It'll remember and remind everyone who we are at our best. And we have a message for those perverted cowards around the world. America never yields, never bends, never cowers, never stands down, endures, responds, and always overcomes. For we are Americans, and never underestimate us. It's always been a bad bet to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless each of the fallen and their families. May God protect our troops wherever they are. And may God continue to bless the United States of America. God love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand? For Lieutenant Commander James Story, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, will now offer the benediction.